one of the most beautiful locations in all of Ontario. Niagara-on-the-Lake, or Newark as it was once called, also boasts one of the darkest histories in all of Canada. On today's episode of Never Stop Learning, we will be checking out this quiet little town with its old world charm and attempting to reveal the thousands of skeletons it has hidden just below the surface, some of which continue to make their presence known to this day. Here are 5 locations in Niagara with a haunted past. Number 5. Overlooking the Niagara River, Fort George was built back in 1790 by the British as a stronghold for the Niagara Region, but on a chilly day in May of 1813, this quiet hill was the scene of a grisly massacre. American forces across the Niagara Gorge had set up artillery cannons and aimed them directly at the fort, and on May 25th, 1813, they fired everything they had in an attempt to destroy the fort. It worked, as almost every building in the fort was destroyed, and 2 days later, their forces landed boats on the Canadian shores, leaving the remaining British and Canadian militia heavily outnumbered. It is said that the fort is now haunted by the spirits of the soldiers and their families that died that day. In the 1930s, the ruins of the fort were reconstructed to their pre-1812 appearance, but once the rebuild was complete, people occupying this location began noticing something wasn't right. Slamming doors began to be heard throughout the fort, and the apparition of a young woman has been reported in the officers' quarters, as well as the spirit of a man has been witnessed peeking out from behind some bunk beds before disappearing. Number 4. The Prince of Wales Hotel is a historic Victorian-style building located in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Built in 1864, the 3-story hotel has 110 rooms and has been known by many names, including Long's Hotel, Arcade Hotel, and the Niagara House. But no matter what it's called, it seems as though some of the guests have decided not to check out. The most famous ghost of the hotel is said to be named Molly McGuire. As the tale goes, American soldiers were advancing through Niagara, driving out the British troops and the Canadian militia. They came across a home in the vicinity of where the Prince of Wales Hotel is now situated. A soldier was sent to clear out the house, and as he searched through the darkness on the 2nd floor, he came across young Molly waiting for her husband. Unable to see clearly through the darkness, the soldier suspected the shape in the room to be of the enemy, so he ran her through with the bayonet, only to discover it was young Molly. Her room, unit number 207, has experienced plenty of paranormal activity, with lights turning on and off on their own, as well as people hearing footsteps in the night when no one else is there. There was even a report of a couple staying overnight in 207, only to hear a loud noise coming from the bathroom. When they went to investigate, they saw a woman in the mirror staring back at them. They immediately checked out after this ghostly experience. Number 3. The Barbaramore Manor was built in 1809, making it one of the oldest houses in Niagara-on-the-Lake. A majority of the house was destroyed during the American invasion, but historians believe that one wing of the building escaped the onslaught, making it one of the few structures in the area to predate the War of 1812. The building was rebuilt in 1818. One of the town's most popular legends is that of Sobbing Sophia, a resident of Barbaramore Manor. During the War of 1812, Sophia fell in love with Isaac. However, her parents did not allow them to get married. Still, Isaac promised her he would marry her in secret, but he was killed in battle during the invasion. Sophia spent the rest of her life grieving over the death of Isaac. People say her ghost remains in the manor, and her sobs can be heard throughout the halls at night. On some occasions, her cries can even be heard throughout the entire street where the manor is situated. Today, Barbaramore Manor is a bed and breakfast, and you can stay the night. But beware, you might randomly wake up in the middle of the night to see Sophia floating over your bed, just sobbing away. If you've enjoyed this episode so far, make sure to give us a like and subscribe to see everything else this channel has to offer. Number 2. The Legend of the Screaming Tunnel has a few different stories attached to it. The most popular takes place over a century ago, when a deadly fire raged through an old farmhouse situated just south of the tunnel. A young girl with her clothing engulfed in flames fled into the tunnel in an attempt to extinguish her burning outfit. Collapsing on the floor, she died alone in the darkness. Other versions of the story say that the girl was set ablaze by her mentally unbalanced father when he learned that his wife won custody of the children during an intense divorce battle. Another story reports that a young girl was sexually assaulted inside the tunnel and her body was burned to hide the evidence. It is said if you light a wooden match while standing in the middle of the tunnel, you will hear a shrill scream and your match will immediately blow out. Even without hearing any of these creepy stories, a walk through this tunnel will definitely give you an unsettling feeling. Number 1. Where the Angel Inn now stands, once stood a building called the Harmonious Coach House. The coach house was an important central hub for Upper Canada, hosting too many important figures to count. During the American invasion, Captain Swayze stopped at the coach house to rendezvous with the innkeeper's daughter, whom he had fallen in love with. While he was searching the coach house, American forces closed in on his location, murdering everyone they found and putting the entire town to the torch. Now, unable to make his escape, Swayze made his way to the cellar and attempted to hide in one of the old beer barrels stored down there. Unfortunately, this didn't work out for the captain, as the Americans found his hiding spot and ended his life in that cellar. Once he was dead, they proceeded to burn the coach house to the ground. In 1815, the inn was rebuilt and the ghost stories began not long after construction was complete. Several guests have reported paranormal occurrences throughout the years that are all so similar that it is hard to dismiss. Usually, they will wake up in the night and claim to see Captain Swayze at eye level right next to their bed, as if he's coming up right through the floor. As soon as they attempt to move, he disappears. Footsteps can also be heard around the dining room and bar when no one else is there. Workers at the inn have also heard whistling down in the basement when they were alone in the building. Captain Swayze seems to hold a grudge against the Americans for his situation, as kegs of American beer tend to malfunction more often than their British or Canadian counterparts. So that's 5 locations in the Niagara region where the spirits of the dead won't rest. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to see everything else this channel has to offer. Thanks for watching.